I welcome you all in this course Introduction to GIS. In this course, you will be learning fundamentals of GIS, including how to open data, visualize data, process the data for analysis and map making. You will also exposed to basic concepts and terminologies used. After completion of this course, you will learn to use GIS at functional level. You will be able to use GIS tool to understand and analyze issues by performing spatial analysis and data visualization in the respective areas of specialization: water, urban studies, and climate change. It is one of the skill building courses of your 2 years postgraduate program. These acquired skills you will be using during your dissertation and rest of your professional life. Therefore, I will advise you to pay adequate attention in this course. Don't worry, it is going to be fun. Why GIS? Why policy students like you get themselves acquainted with Geographic Information System? Since last few decades, GIS being increasingly used in almost all sectors. Today we are also increasingly using GIS based applications knowingly or unknowingly, be it searching routes between two locations, tracking food orders over Swiggy or Zomato, identifying essential services in nearby localities, assessing real-time traffic situation, or obtaining location-specific weather conditions. GIS has tremendous applications in managing natural resources like water and forest. It is widely used in land use planning, environmental conservation, and biodiversity management. It is extensively used by urban planners and other experts for managing various urban services such as water, energy, gas, telecommunication, and transport. In policy domain, GIS is used to understand the nature and character of the problem. Spatial analysis brings forward the critical dimensions of the problem, which are often underestimated, ignored, or hidden. Let us look at this map created by physician in 1854. This is a famous example often quoted by geographers and epidemiologists indicating how Dr. John Snow could link cholera epidemic with contaminated water in London in 1854. This is the earliest example of how geographic information can be used to understand the reasons and spread of epidemic. Here physician John Snow mapped local water sources and cholera death and argued that deaths are occurring due to particular contaminated water pump existing on one of these streets. Here we will see few examples illustrating utility of GIS in water sector and urban and climate studies. In this case, I have used GIS to indicate distribution of urban water supply across the city. I am using data illustrating population density and per capita water consumption in different areas of the city. The simple visualization of these data sets indicate the per capita water consumption is significantly low in areas with higher population density located on fringes, and per capita water consumption is significantly higher in central part of the city with low population density. If I compare the housing data, I can easily draw conclusion that low income areas or slums with higher population density are not adequately served by city water supply board. Here is another example of the same city indicating spatial development of primary water supply network across the city over a period of a time. It illustrates chronological development of infrastructure in different parts of the city. Some of the pockets of the city have service reservoirs with higher storage capacity than others, facilitating inequitable distribution of water. This map indicates average daily flow of drinking water measured as cubic meters per day flowing in different parts of the city. It helps in tracing water flows causing inequity. Such visualization of gathered data by drawing maps in GIS environment strengthen our arguments of inequitable distribution of resources. This example illustrates the status of water resources development in the river basin. I have used this map to emphasize that new interventions such as widening and deepening of the river are not going to improve the water availability in the basin. GIS is extensively used in river basin management. It can be used to delineate river basin and understand the basin characteristics. This map indicates Upper Godavari Basin along with sub-basins and drainage network. Here it indicates average annual precipitation and land use pattern in different parts of the basin. This is how soil map of the basin look like. Now this is a visual representation of calculated average annual evapotranspiration and water yield using a rainfall runoff model. GIS is also used as an interface in many models. For example, Soil Water Assessment Tool, commonly known as SWAT, uses GIS as an interface to visualize input and output of the model. Many hydraulic models, climate models increasingly using GIS as an interface. So in future, if you want to move towards data processing and modeling, then GIS is a useful tool. I am sure by now you must have understood how important GIS is in your respective field and why learning GIS is necessary for policy students. Apart from this stuff, learning GIS is exciting and also interesting. I hope you will enjoy it.